Welcome back. Like my father, his sister was an internist. She worked with alcoholics. She told me that alcoholics had two problems. One was addiction to alcohol, and the other was whatever problem it was that initially stimulated that addiction. The implication is that beating the addiction is only halfway to living a lot better. I once worked as an orderly in a county hospital. That enabled me to confirm that. Often alcoholics would be admitted, dried out, and released, only to be readmitted repeatedly weeks later. Merely weaning them off alcohol wasn't the solution. Like Dr. David R. Hawkins, she also had praise for 12-step groups for alcoholics. There's more to transcending alcoholism than simply weaning an alcoholic off alcohol, and helping them solve the more fundamental problem is the goal of such groups. Isn't chronic insomnia like alcoholism in that respect? We all tend to be both lazy and impatient. Would you like a magic pill that would cure your chronic insomnia? That'd be rational and expedient. However, if the analogy to alcoholism is a good one, it would fail to address the underlying problem. Transcending your chronic insomnia means not only ending the sleeplessness, but also successfully treating the underlying issue. This training promotes the skills to do both. It's well known that Marx said that religion is the opium of the masses. It's less well known that he also thought that depriving them of religion by itself would do them more harm than good. It'd be cruel. If someone is in pain and treating it with a painkiller, you could really be making their situation worse if you simply remove the painkiller. That's why 12-step programs that are support groups can work very well. If your attitude is poor at this point, you'll think something like, oh no, this will require me to work more on myself than I want. If your attitude is good, you'll think something like, excellent. I'll not only be able to dissolve the insomnia, but also treat another important problem as well. If you have a poor attitude, let it go if you want to live better. What you have here is an opportunity not just to transcend your chronic insomnia, but also an opportunity to understand how to cure some additional deep source of dissatisfaction. That's why transcending insomnia is more than just eliminating insomnia. Didn't you realize when you were about 3 years old that the purpose of the world isn't to give you whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted it? What if it were instead to prompt us to become the best versions of ourselves? Here's a productive way to think about how life works. The spatial, temporal, everyday world of becoming, with all its moving objects, noise, and confusion, constantly provides us with what we take to be problems. If it's an important problem, such as chronic insomnia, there are one of two possible outcomes. We fail to solve it and remain stuck with it until death, or we solve it and go on to the next problem. Life will continue to challenge us. It constantly provides us with opportunities to improve the quality of our lives. Chronic insomnia can be understood as an important problem, but it can also be understood as an important opportunity to learn more about living well than just learning how to sleep well. The good news is that if you seize the opportunity and do what is required to transcend it, you'll not only end your chronic insomnia, but you'll have learned how to transcend similar traps. That's the only way to learn how to master life. Again, those who master life never experience prolonged psychological suffering. Always one must pay the price. Growing is always uncomfortable and sometimes very challenging and painful. Nobody likes to grow. The wise, though, do it anyway, because life on the other side becomes much more enjoyable. Any temporary pain or discomfort is worth it. What do the wise learn for themselves that those of us who are not wise resist learning? Suffering is necessary until it isn't. So you have a choice. Either continue to experience suffering, such as chronic insomnia, for the rest of your life, or do what is required to end it. I hope that you decide to follow the way to abiding peace, ease, love, and bliss. My intention is to point you in the right direction. If life is worth living, it's worth living well. The real underlying problem here is that you've gotten stuck mastering life. My work here is to help you get yourself unstuck. I'm not myself a sage, but I've studied many who are. It turns out that living well is, yes, difficult, but it's also simple. Once mastered, it's easy. The chief difficulty is that we're confused about our own nature. As a result, we fail to distinguish success from mastery. So we wind up pursuing success, believing that that's the way to happiness and living well. It's not. The world is full of successful, unhappy people who waste their lives trying to find living well or mastery where it cannot be found. I hope I'm able to help you transcend your insomnia, but the real purpose of these videos is to point you in the direction of mastery, of living well and wisely. That requires getting to know yourself better. When you're ripe to do so, go on to the fourth video.